Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good to be back.
Um, yeah.
So
I know
soon.
this episode totally snuck up on me.
It
Like,
did. We were like, you're like, if we're gonna do this, it has to be at this
has to
time
be
or
this
whatever. And I
weekend.
was like, oh my gosh, it's coming out.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Mason came back so quickly.
Yeah, I think it was the same season, right?
No, it's
No, it's
five.
actually a
We're in
different
five
season.
now.
It is a different season. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we even took a month off.
We did.
And it still
yeah,
snuck
we did,
up on
because we
us.
traveled
Yeah.
and did a bunch of stuff
'Cause we-
this summer. So
Because we were out of town a bit.
yeah, it got really hard to do the show.
So how have you been?
I've been well. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
good. Kevin wants to know
Yes.
He has a burning question.
This is the most important. The first question right out of the gate: Are we in the remodeled home, or are we still in the Airbnb?
Neither.
Oh,
no!
gosh.
Now what happened?
We are not at the house yet. We are now at our. I'm at my in-laws' house,
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Sarah's
Oh,
parents,
fun.
which is
Right.
delightful. No, it's great. They're great, and it's nice to not be like spending a bunch of money on an Airbnb because
Right.
the
Yes,
remodel
that's
kept
nice.
going on and on.
Oh yeah.
So we took a big family trip to Maui.
Oh yeah, I saw
So
pictures.
it was
Right.
Sarah and her brother and his kids and our kids and her parents, and it was like a whole big thing. And we really thought like, okay, we'll go off, we'll come back, and we'll be able to move into the house.
No.
And no. So, but
I'm
we're very, very
sorry.
close. We're like
Okay,
maybe this is like the tail end of it, like maybe 2 weeks at the most.
Okay.
Oh,
Like,
okay, good.
It's now like hooking up plumbing and kind of getting some carpet in and like one functional bathroom so we can move in kind of thing.
Right, right.
So and we're slowly moving furniture in now. So we're really the end game here.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
That's,
For
that's got to be
We-
a good feeling. I know.
oh my god.
Yeah.
Gosh, I think at the point we did the interview, it was 10 months or something,
It was
right?
yeah, and
Oh
it's
my
now been a year.
gosh.
Oh, my
Wow.
And
goodness.
it is we are and the kids, the kids start school tomorrow.
Oh, they
We
do.
Really hoping to be in the house
Yeah.
prior to school starting, but it was not meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
That's-
some reason, our school is not starting till September 7th, and
See, that's how my childhood
Here.
was. You didn't start until after Labor Day, in
Yeah.
September.
but
Not
yeah.
anymore.
Well,
I mean,
here
since
they
our-
and everyone else here because we're local. Everyone else here is starting
Yeah, they start
tomorrow. But I
A
don't
lot
know
of
why
people
our
start
school
tomorrow.
decided to
I think
wait.
LAUSD is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not a ULAUSD.
Well, yeah, we're a
No,
charter,
we're a
so I
charter,
guess they
so-
just do whatever they want to
we're
do.
we're a charter, but we're an LAUSD charter. So it's
Oh, yeah.
a weird hybrid. thing.
Yeah, like I know I get so confused about the independent. I thought we were I don't know.
Well, I know, yeah, the charters get some like funding from LAUSD,
Right.
and I think, and normally our charter follows the LAUSD curriculum and like the way they do things, but ours was like, well, with COVID, let's see what happens
Yeah,
with
let's see how it
LAUSD, and then
goes.
we'll open a little later. And
Yeah.
So if you guys
that way, if everything closed, they don't have to close. They can
right.
just say,
if you
"Don't
had, if you
come."
had opted to do remote learning, is it that same company that's doing the entire LAUSD? Like it's called like
Oh, I don't know.
Angels,
No.
City of Angels or something. It's like some
Yeah, I know what you're talking
outside
about.
Oh, really?
company. And they used to it used to be they were a homeschooling,
Mhm.
company, but now they're doing for the entire district. So they've had to rapidly expand, I think, very quickly
Wow.
to handle all of this. And so if we had opted for that, it had to be through them. But if the school or the district decides to pull the plug on in-person learning, then we'll go back to like last year's
Oh, okay.
school
Oh, wow.
handle the Zooms and stuff. So
Right, computer mess. Yeah.
Well,
who knows?
I know.
if we go back,
I-
if we go back to homeschooling, Tori's gonna just leave because,
I,
because but with her job, her job allows her to work from home, unlike my
Yeah.
job where I have to
Right.
go in.
I'm-
So she's home all day with them trying to do
No.
school and work.
it's,
and
it's too much. I know.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna.
And are they
Too much
are
is an
either one of them
understatement.
12 yet?
One just turned 11 and one just turned 9.
yeah.
Right. So our
Yeah.
11 and a half year old,
Uh-huh.
he won't be eligible for the vaccine until February.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
we're just championing
Wait.
the bit to like get him
know.
in there and like
I'm
he wants
hoping-
it. He's begging.
I'm
That's
hoping they're
great.
going to
Yeah.
lower it. Like if it's FDA approved, do you think maybe we have a chance of
I-
them lowering the age?
I think so.
I know.
Yeah, I
I
think
would
it
be-
has to do with like them testing the dose, and they realize obviously
Yeah.
the adult dose can go as low as 12 years old, and I
Right.
think they're just trying to figure out the doses.
Oh,
for
I
the
see,
younger
for
and
younger,
what it
okay.
is.
It's that
I mean, they're
perfect
testing
storm
right
of-
now; it's going on. So
Oh,
fingers crossed,
sure. But it's that perfect storm of timing of they're not quite old enough to get it, but they're starting to get the actual illness because of Delta. So it's like,
Right.
Right.
yeah,
I know.
I know.
So-
yeah, no.
all terrifying.
It's a very, I know, it's just a
On that
crazy
happy note.
time. I know. That's okay. Okay, so we'll get to the, but that's good. We wanted to catch up first.
Okay, good.
Okay, so now, all right, so the episode that you're on here is called Teacher's Pet. And this is interesting because it's mostly just Mason and Tony's kind of story.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I've been thinking about that actually since I knew I was going to be talking to you guys about it. As much as I would have loved Mason to come back, it makes sense now that I think they really may have milked the character for everything they could. Because, the first episode was, I think, meant to be a one-off, the
Right.
big girl on campus.
Yeah.
And then they brought Mason back for the little love triangle thing with Jesse, with 3 teams
Right.
and Tony. And then the third one's like, well, what do we do with him? I mean, I don't know that that's
Right.
what they were thinking, but so this idea of like Tony going back to school and like Mason being his, his teacher.
Right.
Then after that, like, what do you really do with?
Right.
Now, could Mason as a teacher have been a great spinoff? Listen, who am I to say? I think so, but what are you gonna do?
I was thinking the same thing while I was watching, and I'll go on a little bit, but I do have an idea that I think would have been cute for another Mason episode of a buddy up that we hadn't seen yet. But how did you find out that you were going back for this third episode? Do you remember?
I don't think there was anything remarkable about it. I think I just got a call from my agent saying, "Hey, you're on a veil. They want these dates. It looks like you're going to go back to Who's the Boss."
Right.
And I was very excited.
No.
So I kept thinking, I really did think that this wouldn't be the last one. If they were bringing back Mason again, that they were still, that this could go on.
Yeah, I agree.
But I was excited that it was sort of a me and Tony, episode, because it really, as I look back on those episodes, they're sort of equal parts Mason, Sam, and Mason,
Right.
Tony.
Yeah.
I had always thought of Mason as sort of being this sort of character in Sam's universe, but really there is this whole aspect of it that it's like almost more of a Tony friendship than it is a Sam friendship.
Yeah, I agree. Like the chemistry is almost better. I mean, chemistry is used in many different ways.
Right.
And the chemistry between you and Tony is
Right.
better, I think, than Mason and Sam.
I mean,
so,
they cut the part where Tony and I kiss, but other than that, no. No, I totally agree that we had this. I'd never really thought about it before, but I think we really did have a really good chemistry together, Tony. And
Yeah.
Well, the kiss always happened before the show, right? Tony would.
That's
give you
right.
the-
Every
Right.
time before the taping, big
Yes.
smooch. Big Italian smooch. Right?
That's right. Yeah, that's so funny. That's
Um,
good to know about Tony.
He was a very, very affectionate and very sweet in that way, and very supportive, in that way. So
yeah,
Yeah,
he
and-
seems like he is with the kids, especially.
Yeah, like a very,
Oh,
like
for
very
sure.
much a father figure.
absolutely.
And you were saying the last time we talked,
Yeah.
you said that this next episode was going to, or the last episode was going to be a you and Tony episode, and I always was kind of intrigued because, like Tori and I have talked about before, like my watching of Who's the Boss, I fell off somewhere on season 4 or 5
Right.
watching it.
He's older than I am.
I am. Yes. Thank you
Oh
for
my.
stating that.
Everyone calm down.
I think when I hit high school and like when I got ready to graduate, I think I stopped watching. So as we're watching along now with the podcast, I'm learning. Okay, I saw that one. Now I am in the unknown.
On new
Right,
ones,
yeah.
uncharted territory.
It is all new to me. So
Yeah.
when you said that, it was a you and Tony episode, I'm like, what does that mean? But like, it truly was. Like, Samantha comes in, she's like, look who I ran into.
Yeah.
Right.
And then see you later,
Yeah, bye.
see you
Yeah.
later, Samantha, and it's
Peace
you and
out.
Tony. Yeah, so, yeah, you were not kidding about that.
I there are a couple of things I remember from the episode. One was that I was really excited that I got to have a moment with Mona.
Oh, yes.
And there's that moment where she's like laughing at me and
Yes.
she buries her head in my shoulder. And I'm like, Catherine Hellman is burying her head in my shoulder. It was
Wow.
Right?
like
Yeah.
this brush with a legend, like it
Yes.
was very exciting to me to get to do that with her.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was cute because I was trying to think about that when we were watching it, because I think the only other interaction you had with her was when she told you to get out of her chair.
Yeah.
I think in 3 Teens and a Tony. Like, who are you? Get out
Yeah.
of my chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought and that scene is so cute with the two of them laughing.
Yeah.
And but the thing, what we noticed about that scene is when they come in, Angela wants to eat the brownies because
Right,
she's been
immediately.
working out. And Tony's like, you can't eat the brownies because they're for Mason. And then the brownies get put on the kitchen counter and you
And
never
I
get a brownie.
I didn't even remember about the
No.
brownies. That's so funny. Yeah, that had nothing to do with bread.
No,
Take
you
one,
get
take
no
one.
brownies and then
Right.
you just
And-
leave.
And then the line that you brought your teacher home, or
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then he says, "Well, actually, I carried him home."
Right, yeah.
But, yeah, it's a funny scene. Like,
Yeah, it was
Catherine Hellman, I have to say, was a very, very early inspiration for me, way
Really?
before Who's the Boss, which was my very first ever TV gig when I was 12, I guess, was on Benson.
Oh, right.
Which
Mhm.
Right.
Benson was a spin-off of Soap,
right.
Right.
So right.
She
So
had been on.
Yeah.
Yep. Hmm.
and I've never forgotten this when I showed up for work on Benson. She was there because she was directing the next week's episode of Benson.
Oh,
So she would
cool.
direct some episodes of Benson. I
Mhm.
think she directed some episodes of Who's the Boss as well.
Yeah, she did.
And I remember seeing her in the hallway there, in the offices, the production offices, and then seeing on some paperwork, a printed schedule that she was directing the next week's episode. And I was so amazed by that because I knew her from Soap. And I was
Right.
like, wait a minute, actors can direct episodes.
Right.
That's a thing. And that was the moment that I decided that's what I want to do when I get to be older. I want to be able to direct episodes. And so she was
Nice.
a very early inspiration for me in that way.
That's
And so
really,
then get to work with her was kind of a little bit of a dream
Wow,
come
that-
true.
yeah,
That is
totally.
great,
That's sweet.
yeah.
That, I mean, my biggest sadness over there being a revival, if there is a revival now, is that, if they would have done this 10 years ago, they could have had her on it. And I think, it would have been really nice to, if they do this, if they do the revival, I really hope that they can work in some sort of in a sitcom way, a little memorial to
Right.
because obviously they've also lost Mona, the whole
Right.
family,
Absolutely.
in some way would maybe want to pay tribute to Mona. So
I thought I had read early on when their first rumors of the reboot, one of them saying, maybe Tony, somebody saying, it's not going to happen because there's no
yeah, that's they kind of stood by that for a while.
I remember
think.
that too
Yeah.
because I actually remember the day that she passed away. I messaged you, and I was like, "Well, there goes any
Yeah.
hope for
Right.
Who's the Boss reboot," because we
Yeah.
always talked about that would be a great. And this was
Yeah.
I don't know how many years ago.
It was probably almost,
seven?
yeah, because she
I don't-
passed
I
away in
don't-
2018 or
Oh, was it?
2017.
Okay,
but
that recent. Okay, I
um,
felt like it was.
I
but
do
when
think- I do
reboots
think
started
there's a
becoming
way.
popular.
I think there's a
Yeah.
way to pull it off.
Oh,
It would
absolutely.
just
Oh, yeah,
be nice
absolutely.
if her presence just loomed large.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
If there was a massive portrait of her over the fireplace and a lot of references to her or something.
Or they
Yeah.
run into gentlemen who knew her.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I know Mona. I
Because
remember Mona.
she lived life to her the fullest
That's
all
right.
the way to the end, for sure. Yeah, so then the last time we spoke, my mom made a note to tell me that I did not ask you about what it was like to work with Judith Light.
My only recollection is that it was wonderful.
Yeah.
She was very kind and very supportive and very friendly. Nothing
Yeah.
but good stuff.
We love Judith Light over here. We watch pretty much everything she's done.
We do.
Yeah.
Even the really old
Even
bad movies.
we
I
love
will-
watching old
The-
stuff. So sometimes we'll sit down and watch an old TV movie. We picked a couple of hers.
Like
They're-
Hallmark type movies.
They're awful, but
listen.
she still shines.
And
Yeah,
she's also
she's great in it. She's
how many
great in
episodes
everything.
of Law and Order as a judge has she done? I think she's done a bunch of those.
Yes, SUV. Yeah.
Yeah.
Transparent. I mean,
Yeah, she's great in Transparent.
I will say there's two people who I've worked with that I have had sort of career resurgences like that. I
Right.
mean, maybe you can't even call it a resurgence because they've been working constantly since then.
Mhm.
But somehow it's sort of in the zeitgeist now. Judith being one of them,
yeah.
and Gene Smart being the other.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. Yeah.
That's fun.
I did 3 episodes of Designing Women, and so I love it. I love watching them
Yeah.
be everywhere now, and everyone loved them because they're great.
And her husband, Also,
Richard Gere.
yes.
Yeah.
So sweet, and
Nice
he
guy. I
was
would
always
talk baseball with him constantly.
Yeah,
So
always there.
I directed Richard in a play in
Oh,
2007.
nice.
Oh wow.
It was a 2-character play. It was Richard and Yardley Smith, who does the
Yeah,
voice of
from
Richard.
Simpsons.
Mhm.
And this was at the Falcon in Burbank, which was Gary Marshall's theater. And I was hired. I was a nervous wreck because I didn't know either one of them, and I had only directed plays like with people that I knew and was close to. So I was like, any real actor who like knows like real protocols and be like, who is this fraud? You know, like I was just terrified to like come in there and like, and you know, Gary was, oh, don't worry about it. They'll love you. It'll be fine. You know, so and it was, and Richard was so sweet and just loved to sit around
really
and tell
nice
stories
guy.
all day. And
Yeah.
was
Nice
just
man.
great anecdotes and really, really lovely guy.
Yeah.
So I had worked with Gene first, you know, years before, and then
Mhm.
and I worked with Richard, you know, mid 2000. So that was a very sad loss.
Yeah,
Mhm.
some devastating. So, and when I was in the tap class with Gene Smart at the time, like I don't know, I was at work one day with a couple of people and we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, and Gene Smart's in our class, and they were like, who? And I was like, well, she used to be on Designing Women. And this was only like a year ago, and 2 years ago because of the pandemic. And now it's like, yeah, Jean Smart from Hacks
Yeah, from
and
I mean, like, she's,
Mayor of
Yeah.
Easttown.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yes,
exactly.
it's just amazing. And
Yeah.
it's
but
just,
it's like one of those things where she's in everything, and I want her to be in everything.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
And that,
Yes.
I kind of felt the same way about Judith. Like I just every time I see her in anything, I'm like, yes, you should be in this.
Yes.
You know.
And you're right that she really did. I mean, she had been working all along, but her resurgence was really transparent. And I think
Transparent, right.
she's even credited them to putting her kind of back in the spotlight. And she's fantastic in that role.
She is.
So
Oh my
good.
gosh, all the way to the end.
And Kevin and I joke because every week there's a news article about a show that Judith Light's in that's not the Who's the Boss reboot.
Right.
Like, wait a minute. She has to have the time. She's
I
not finding
know.
time for something.
I
No,
know.
she's in
it's just-
everything.
I hope they're sending her flowers wrapped in money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
To at least just be in a part-time or some way on FaceTime. Maybe she's out of the country and Tony just talks to her on FaceTime.
She's working for like, I don't know, like Doctors Without Borders or something, you know.
Yes, exactly. Yes, like she, I don't know, had to go find herself after Mona's passing.
There you go.
So then, okay, what was now the one of the other things that I wanted to ask you about is, do you remember at all, like, kind of what the shooting, like, how did the schedule work when you would have? Was it a week that you would work?
It would be 1 week,
Uh-huh.
5 days. So I don't remember if it was a Monday through Friday or a Tuesday through, you know, whatever it was. But
Right.
let's say it was Monday through Friday. So Monday you would come in and you would do a table read, and that's all you would do. You know, we'd sit around the table. The network would be there, all the producers would be there, cast, and you would just sit there, read through the script, and they would frantically be taking notes about like what jokes were working, what jokes weren't working, and then you would go home. And
Nice.
we, like Alyssa and I, would stay because we had to do school. So like
right.
we would probably do our little 3 hours of school, and then we would leave. But everyone else just got to leave after the read, except for the
Nice.
writers, of course, who have to go
Right.
and, you know, slave away for
Right. Right.
till
Rewrite
next
the
morning,
episode.
you know,
right.
and then the next day, so then you come back Tuesday and you'd start to like get it on its feet, you know, do like rough blocking, and then, you know, go home. Then Wednesday you'd come in and like finish blocking it, and at the end of the day there would be a run through for the network,
Oh,
and it
okay.
would all come, and it was all very tense and terrifying. They'd sit around in, you know, directors' chairs, and like things would get laughs or they wouldn't, and then there'd be a lot more frantic rewriting until 5 o'clock in the morning, you know.
Wow, and every week the network they were that involved in it.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And then you'd
Wow.
come in, let's say Thursday morning then, and there'd be new pages in like goldenrod. You know, there's always the colors were constant.
Right.
The colors
Yeah.
The
always
first one would be
change. Right.
white, then the rewrites would be blue, then it would be, you know, salmon. It kept changing.
Right.
And there would be like asterisks by any new dialogue that was new. So you're integrating all this new
Mm-hmm.
the day before taping, you know, you're getting new dialogue. And Thursday would be camera blocking. So it's all just sort of technical blocking for, all the set up all the shots. And then at the end of the day, another network run through. And then Friday would come back and we would have there would be 2 tapings on a Friday.
Right.
You tape one, have dinner, come back and tape tape it again.
Okay, interesting.
And that was it.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned the blocking one, because we noticed a little bit of an almost goof in this episode.
Really?
So,
Everything.
when you come home with Samantha, you come and sit on the couch, and Samantha's wearing a big jacket.
Yeah,
so she goes over to that mirror that's by the front door. And Alyssa's taking the jacket off, and you can tell that Alyssa can't get the jacket off of one of her arms. And so she's kind of struggling, but then she makes it to her mark in time for her line, because she just rips the jacket off, throws it on the floor, and then runs to get to her spot to be able to deliver her line.
Totally just throws it on the floor, doesn't bother to, and then she runs over, and as she's running over, she starts delivering the line.
Right.
You could tell it was
because,
run and gun,
It's because ultimately you do, multiple takes if something goes wrong. They stop, they go back, they do it again. You could always tell that the laughs that the audience is doing, when they've only seen the scene for the first time.
Right.
By the time they've seen it for the 4th time, it's the laughs are getting
Right.
But we've heard that Tony would try to keep it to just a couple of takes to get it to move quickly.
They were not long nights,
Yeah.
But it's sort of interesting that they wouldn't, that they kept that in, because you figured there were 2 tapings,
right?
And each time they probably had multiple takes of the scene.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the jacket's on the floor the entire rest of the scene.
That was just the best take, and they really wanted to use it, so they were who cares?
Right. Yeah.
Now, when you come in there as a guest star, are you extra nervous about being the one to flub a line?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's got to be so stressful.
And they're always pretty great about it, and they screw up enough that you don't really feel that terrible. But if you were the only one screwing up,
Right.
When I was most terrified though about it was when I would work on soap operas. So I worked on Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
And I did about 6 different characters over the course of 6 seasons on that show. They didn't care.
Right.
I was like a doctor one, thing. I was a lab tech. I was a computer hacker. I was a PR guy. Nice. You've done the show before. You know how to do it. Okay, we'll use you again, because
even better.
It's so fast.
Mm-hmm.
They have to get through so much, and if you screw up, they just keep it in. Yeah. So I can remember my very first, especially if you're not one of the regulars. You're just a guest. I flubbed a line, and the scene ended, and they were like, "Okay, moving on." And I was like, "Well, wait, I kind of screwed up the line." He's like, "Yeah, it doesn't matter." Right. And off they went, and the flub stayed in, and it's just you just got, and that's terrifying, because they're not going to do it again if you blow it.
Yeah. Well, I've heard soap operas get a lot of bad rap for being lower quality TV, but for training for an actor, I've heard that soaps are actually terrific, because you're learning so much dialogue, and you're doing so much every day.
You're learning so much dialogue. You're learning a lot about camera blocking, because they basically are you come in and they just go, "Okay, say you're going to say your first line here, move to that mark over there." Everything's pre-marked for you. It's they're not, sitcoms or a play, or you're kind of working it out with them, trying to figure out where you want to go. You spend half an hour block. This is all pre-blocked before you get there. And there's say that line on that mark, move over there, say your next 3 lines, come over here, and you're just having to take it all in and hope that you remember and not screw it up. Yeah. And you get a couple of rehearsals, obviously.
Right.
You're learning a lot about blocking, about camera blocking, and certainly about memorizing dialogue, because they're throwing a lot at you.
Yeah.
And then rewrites at the last second.
Yeah.
It's thank God it's not live. Other than that,
Yeah, it's kind of sad that I used to love General Hospital when I was a kid, but it feels like now they're dying out. There's only a few left on CBS.
I don't even know what's left anymore. I know all my children's gone. I know.
I haven't watched them in so many years. I used to. My brother, when I was a teenager, or when I was a kid, my brother was a teenager. He was really into Days of Our Lives for some reason. Yeah. So I would sit and
I have a good friend who was into Days of Our Lives. Who was religiously he would go and watch it every day.
Who was so into All My Children that she would basically kick you out of her house when it was time to watch.
Right.
This was before TiVo, or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, gotta go.
Sadly,
Yep,
I know a lot
know.
about all my children.
Yeah,
The
no,
early
there's
years.
just
My parents were. My mom was.
way into it.
Yeah. Did my story record?
Well, and I feel like soaps kind of go with families. Like your family watches, like because
Yeah,
grandma
like,
watches
yeah.
it, so mom watches it, so
Right.
then you watch
inherit
it,
I
right?
inherited Days of Our Lives from my
Exactly. Yeah.
brother. Like,
That's great.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think on CBS there's only Young and the Restless and Bold and the Beautiful
Yeah, that
left.
sounds about right. I
And
don't
General Hospital is still on because my mother still watches
That's
every
incredible.
single episode. Yeah.
I think Days is still on. I think
I think so, right? Yeah, I think so.
know. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
amazing.
But yeah, it's
amazing
kind of
thing
sad
about-
that they're going away.
Soap operas is there's no seasons and like it's constantly just going.
Yeah.
You know.
And
that's-
also, like 5 years later, these characters are still in the same hospital room talking about the same thing. Like it's like they repeat the same beat over and over again over
Right.
the course of the
No.
season. It's like
Totally. That's so funny.
Very
that's so
strange,
true.
Okay, so then my idea for, because I am sad that this is the last time that we see Mason. And again, I remember you saying that you felt like it was longer than 3 episodes. And as a kid, I feel like it was longer than 3 episodes
Me too.
also.
Me
definitely
too.
felt like that to me. Like I'm. And people seem to remember Mason
Yeah.
like that. It felt like more than 3 episodes, but it really was just the 3.
Yeah, he's definitely a
think
very
they were just
memorable
memorable
character.
enough. Yeah.
But I would have liked to have seen Mason and Jonathan have an episode together.
That would have been cool.
Yeah,
I could have been
because
tutoring him or something. I don't know. You know.
yeah, because I feel like there's in one episode they kind of hint to Jonathan being, like he looks up to Mason because he is Mason, just younger, like he
Right.
gets picked on at school and like that kind of stuff, and
Right.
he's smarter than everyone else. So it would have been really cute to kind of see some sort of buddy
that
thing
would
with
have.
them. But I have a new idea for the reboot.
Oh, here we go.
Bring it.
Bonnie and Mason got married.
That's amazing.
Right? Because there's always those people in high school that like knew each other, but
Yeah.
then they weren't, and then they find
They
each other
reconnect
later in
later.
life,
Yeah, that's
college
great.
and stuff. Although Mason was already out of college, so yes, Bonnie and
I-
Mason are married.
And Bonnie was Shauna Lane Block, right?
Yeah.
was Bonnie, yeah. And so
Yes.
we've known each other for a million years, and we're still, connected over social media.
Oh, great!
Oh,
that's
that's
great.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
Yeah, she's the last. So she's the only friend that lasts throughout the entire.
is that right?
Yeah,
Right,
we've
'cause
watched
we
them
just
all
did-
leave.
We just did one with her, right? Was that?
Yeah,
But,
she's in a lot this season. Oh yeah, we went ahead and we
the-
did the next episode, Mrs. Rosini's uncle, and she's in that one.
Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, we
But
had to
yeah,
do
when it
that
started
one.
I
out-
love that she lasts that long. that she
Yeah,
lasts
I think
Yeah.
she lasts all the way to the end, if
don't
I
know. I
remember
just know she's in
correctly.
a lot. Yeah.
But she's the only one because it started out with Nicole Eggert.
right.
Um,
And Angela Lee,
Yeah.
Yep.
was, right?
Yes, and then another lady, I can't remember her name. She played Robin, right? But she went on to go do something else. They lost her pretty quickly. And so, yeah, and then eventually Nicole Eggert leaves, I'm guessing to go do Charles in Charge.
Probably,
and
yeah.
then Julia leaves, who is Angela Lee.
Right.
And then, which we saw her on an episode of Shameless in
Oh, really?
season, in
Yeah,
season
yeah.
10. She's in an
I
episode
actually
of Shameless.
I actually hung out with her not that long ago.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
just
cool.
like a couple of years ago. And
Yeah.
we, again, social media, we're all still
Right,
connected,
right.
so.
That's really cute. That's
Yeah,
great
that's
that you guys that you're connected to them, being as it was only 3
Absolutely.
episodes.
We were
yeah.
all kids together, so.
Yeah, that's cute.
The other thing I remember about this episode is that I think when I first read the script, I had not seen Citizen Kane yet.
oh,
So
that's
I did
right.
not know what the Rosebud reference was.
Right.
And when I said it at first, I think I just guessed as to how they wanted me to say it. Like I didn't
Right.
know what I was mimicking. And it wasn't until later that I realized that,
Right.
oh, that's what that is.
If I have seen that movie, it was so long ago
know,
that I looked up the Rosebud reference because I was like, what does it mean? Yes.
And I was
Or you were-
I remember thinking like, I said it and the audience laughed. So
Right,
they get
so-
it. And I think
right.
I was too embarrassed to ask. Like I didn't
Right.
want to, like I knew I probably should know what this was. And so I didn't
Right, right.
ask them. So I just sort of did it and no one corrected me on how I was saying it. So I was like,
Yeah, no, you hit it. It was perfect. Do you remember, did they put something down for you to fall on when you're supposed to faint?
they must have. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know there was like a pad there that I found.
Yeah.
You went down. So
And I loved working with Alan Oppenheimer, who played the dean.
Yes.
So he, again, like I think I sensed from I loved veteran character actors from a very early age, and I think I had sensed early on that like if I was going to have a career as an adult, that's what it was going to be. So I've always just been very into elderly character actors.
Right.
Alan is still not only is he still alive, he's still working.
Yeah. We looked.
Wow.
He's got a lot of voiceover work.
There's a lot
that
of
he's
voiceover
doing.
stuff. Yeah. And
And
he
if
had been
I-
on like Broadway. I think I think he was in the original Broadway cast of Sunset Boulevard back in the '90s.
Wow.
And he's done, I mean, so much classic TV. Get Smart and Hogan's Hero, like all the way
Right.
back. So that was fun to get to work with him too.
You know what we have realized too in watching this show when we look at the actors is so Rhoda Gemignani, who plays Mrs. Rosini, in the pilot episode of Who's the Boss, the actress was 43 years old. And
Kill myself now. Excuse me.
but I'm like, wait a minute, I'm 2 years older than Mrs. Rosini is in the pilot episode, but I
I
just
know.
feel like
Do you know
When we
about
were kids,
look-
that Mrs. Rosini
what
was
people
60.
call the Wilford Brimley cocoon line? Do you know about
right,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
right, Tom
I am
Cruise,
now the age
Right.
like Wilford Brimley was when he did Cocoon.
right.
It's great.
Yeah, I saw one meme recently. It was Paul Rudd and him next to each other, and they
Right.
said Paul Rudd is now the
Yeah.
same age.
I
Yeah,
mean-
it was like that whole.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like you're looking at it like what?
So-
Paul Rudd.
Alan Oppenheimer, when I looked him up, I believe in his first episode of Who's the Boss, which is a couple of episodes before this one, he was only like 58 or 60. So I feel like either they made people look older or people just
It's
looked
just-
older
I
then.
We were
really do
kids,
believe
so-
that people looked older
I know.
Yeah.
than they do now. I
Yeah.
don't know why that is.
I hope so.
How it works, but yeah.
I just hope it keeps going.
I know.
But the thing is, I will look and see some people from high school, like on Facebook or whatever. I'll see people I went to high school with and think, yeah, we all still look pretty young. Or, you
Right,
know.
right.
Then I'll see someone else I went to high school with and go, you look like someone's grandmother or
I know.
grandfather.
I know.
Like,
Why is that?
How is
I-
that possible that I'm the
is it
same
hard
age?
living or something?
Yeah.
Or
We've
I
had
agree.
that.
I
he's had
show,
that
all the
experience
time. I'll
for
do that with
sure.
her. I'll be like, look at this person on Facebook. Like this woman looks like she's 60 and she's my age,
Right.
And it's just like how I don't know. How
I
that
also sometimes
happens.
think about how young some of my friends' parents were when we were
Oh,
kids. We
oh,
thought,
absolutely.
These grown-ups,
Yeah,
they're so
right.
old.
They're so old.
They were like in their 20s.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I know.
they were just
I
kids.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's-
My
I know.
mom and I only have a 22-year difference.
Yeah, I know.
And
You guys are close.
I have a 35-year difference with my first child. So yeah, and like
my dad was 47 when I was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I
But,
had
like-
old dad, for most
Yeah.
But like now it's completely common. Like when I
Mm-hmm.
find a kid at school whose parent is young, they're like that. I'm like, oh wow.
surprising, yeah.
Yeah, it is surprising because most of the moms that we know are, are
Are old like
around.
us.
And people are waiting longer and longer to have their first kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we did.
Yes, which I still can't decide what's better. Like, then when you're 47, you get to like go out and do whatever. I don't know.
I see.
Or
Like I said, again, it's like
Well,
on
that's the thing,
Facebook.
I had a friend whose kid, she had her son very early. She was, I think, in her late teens. And then he got
Yeah.
to about 18 and she's almost done. And then she got pregnant again. And I was like,
No.
yeah,
what are you,
What?
you
I know.
doing? You're done.
That's
Right.
her
And you're
worst
still
nightmare.
young. You can start it all over from scratch.
I know. I can't. I
No
can't
way.
even. I see.
She has dreams. She has dreams all the time that she wakes up. She's like, I had a dream I was pregnant again. I know.
Those are
Stop with that.
nightmares. Because
We'll be watching TV, Sarah, and I'll just be like, aren't you glad that's not us?
I know. Yeah, I know. Because like now I feel like this is a really great. And you have what you said, 11 and a half and 9.
11 and a half and
Yeah.
9.
So that we have 11 and 9, and I really feel like this, like traveling with them is great now.
Good.
And they still annoy me, and I still can't get them to clean and stuff like that. But
Clean,
yeah.
flush. There are a lot of things that are still annoying, but
Yes.
traveling has been great. They're great on
Yes.
planes. Like the Hawaii trip, they were like, it was a piece of cake traveling with them. And they're at that age where they're not like, are we there yet? Every 5 seconds in the car.
Mhm.
right,
Right.
They can entertain themselves for hours on end.
yeah. I don't know. Have you been out to the science center recently?
Not recently, no.
So we took them just like this past week, and
couple,
I feel
yeah.
like it was the first time that they did everything and loved like even the space shuttle, where normally they're just like, oh, it's a big
I'm
plane,
bored.
that's cool, right?
No,
This
they were
time
way
they were
into
like
it.
reading the walls and
first
like,
time.
how old were you when this happened?
Right,
And
I
like,
know with this shuttle tragedy. Tell me
yeah,
about that.
and the Lego display there. It's called Art of the Brick,
Oh,
and
that's
it's a bunch of
fantastic.
sculptures and Legos.
Our kids are very into Lego, so that's
Yeah.
Oh, you should go. It's
They'll
worth
love it, and it's also a good way to expose them to art because there's like the Mona Lisa in Lego, so they have like a picture of what the art is, and then
cool.
the sculpture kind of matches
And
some
it's
of
one
it, and
person
then
who does
Yeah, it
all
does
the,
them all.
the sculptures.
that's amazing.
but for
Yeah,
the first
that's worth
time, I
it.
was like,
Worth the money.
oh, this is what it's like to bring children to a museum.
Right, they're
Why?
people, right?
Right,
And they,
yeah.
they're interested in things, and they
Right.
we've been talking a lot. Like we want to take them to New York. We're
Oh,
we're
yeah.
excited to take them places and show them things. 'Cause
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're cognizant now, and they
Right.
appreciate it. They'll remember it. You know, it's
Right.
very
Yeah.
cool.
We're
We're
doing
going
the New
at
York
the beginning
trip
of
in
December.
We wanted to do Christmas
When
in
I-
New York. With
When
the
we
kids,
planned
so.
it, things seem better. So
Yeah,
I'm
so
hoping.
hopefully things will
Yeah.
be.
Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. We've taken
Other
a lot
thing
of your
I
time.
forgot-
No.
it's
Okay.
fine.
Go ahead. No. Please.
One other thing I forgot to mention about the episode, of course, was
Yeah.
that Chelsea Noble,
Oh
who
yes.
played the girl, went on to marry Kirk Cameron.
Yes.
Right.
They've
of
been
course.
married for many years.
Yes. And
I don't know if they were already dating at that point. I don't think that they were.
I think
So-
we looked it up.
yeah, we looked it up because she was in an episode before that.
No, she met him.
And she met. Okay, so she did a spot on Full House,
That's what it was. Full
and
House.
she met Kirk Cameron on the set
Okay.
when
Right.
she was on Full
Right.
House.
That's what I remember.
So I
reading
believe
That's
that
what it was.
they knew each other. I'm not sure if they were dating yet, and then
met
she
on
did the
Full
stint
House.
on
Right.
Growing Pains.
Oh, she was on Growing
yeah.
Pains. You're right, of course. That's
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had done, so Candace and I did 2 Disney Sunday movies together. So this was back when ABC had this thing called the Disney Sunday movie.
Yeah.
And like Michael Eisner would introduce each, thing.
Oh yeah, I remember that actually.
And so we had done one called Little Spies, and she was with Mickey Rooney. And she was like 5 years old, maybe 6 when we did
Okay.
that. She was little. And then she and I did another one together a couple of years later called Bigfoot, which was about Bigfoot, oddly.
I think
Right.
I remember the first.
I wonder
one.
if you can find those anywhere, like on YouTube.
they're
Oh, I
like-
guarantee you
Yeah.
can find them.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know.
I know, but that's what makes them fun.
So I knew Kirk a little bit from those sort of
Yeah.
experiences. He had gone like in a group to Disneyland at one point at like the height of his fame, and that was crazy.
I
like
bet.
people chasing him.
Wow.
Yeah.
and having to sort of run away. And when we were like up in Big Bear, he came up and like we went out and rode ATVs one weekend with like the prop guy, kind of thing. So I knew him a little bit, but not well.
Right.
And I haven't seen, either one of them for 30 something years.
Yeah. Yeah. Now they seem to be working on the Left Behind series a lot, which
Yes, that's
I
been
have-
a big thing for him over the course of the last 20,
Yeah.
15, 20 years.
Yeah, at least.
and I
How
think
many
he
times
got.
can you get left behind? Like, I've never seen,
I don't know. I
I've
don't
never
know.
seen
How many
one.
times can the rapture happen? Is what I want.
He got in a little bit of trouble too, caroling right around Christmas. He was like organizing outdoor caroling in the height of COVID.
Well, he had the beach party too, the maskless beach
think
party.
so, Yeah,
I don't
He
think- I
he
don't-
organized a big beach party in Malibu, and is like, it's no mask, and we're having a big beach
Yeah.
party.
I don't
or
think
something.
he and I would have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Probably never did, actually.
Right. And
Yeah.
He was a
Me
teen
either.
idol, and I was a 2-year-old man. So
Aw. I loved Mason. And Candace Cameron was actually on an episode of Who's the Boss. She did what is the episode? Okay. Oh, I know what it is. It was the spin-off called Mona. And she,
Oh, right.
yeah, and it was just one episode that they aired during Who's the Boss to like start the spin-off, and she played young Mona in like a flashback.
That's right.
And
That's
she's
right. that's
tiny.
right.
She's
In
so
front of the
cute.
house and everything.
Yeah.
I totally
And
forgot.
the show, and that was it. It never went beyond the
Yeah,
pilot.
never went
No.
anywhere.
There was the other pilot, which was the modeling thing, right?
Yes.
Or the-
Yes.
Living Dolls, and
Living
we
Dolls.
we
I
haven't.
auditioned for, but
Oh, really?
it was weird because, yeah, I mean, I didn't get it.
Wait, are you being serious that you auditioned for a
Yeah.
part? No, okay, I thought you were joking that you auditioned to
I-
be like a living
I think it was
one of the
my-
models. Okay.
I think it was my friend Chris Young who ended up doing it. I think. If
Oh,
I remember
okay.
correctly, maybe.
Oh, I'd have to look that
Um,
up.
All right, yeah,
I
I'll
don't know,
look.
but it was a completely different part. And then
Okay. Yeah, we haven't gotten to that yet in the
Mm-hmm.
series. I think season 5 is when they introduced that, and that
but whose
spin-off.
spin-off was it? Like, who's the character?
Yeah,
that
who was
spun
this
off?
for?
It was Leah Remini, and then
Oh,
okay,
right.
so there's and we haven't gotten there yet, but apparently there are 2 episodes that show up on the Who's the Boss. So the actual pilot for Living Dolls had Leah Remini and Halle Berry, but they originally, and I guess it like kind of put Halle Berry in the
No
spotlight. I
idea.
don't think she had done anything before that. But there's an original pilot of Living Dolls that they now have made a Who's the Boss episode that is different, I think, and it's not Halle Berry because they ended up recasting whoever they originally had in the Halle Berry role when they actually went with the pilot. And that show did go a season.
I was gonna say it was more than just the pilot. Yeah.
Yeah, that one went a season. The other one that didn't work out was the Fran Drescher, Donna Dixon spinoff
Yeah.
that they tried to do.
I'm hearing about for the first time.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
What-
It's but it was Fran
When was
Drescher.
that one? That was
That was like season 3 or
season
something.
3. It was like
and
the end of.
Had
Yeah.
Donna Dixon been on the show more than once?
no,
No,
so
I don't
Fran
think so.
Fran Drescher had been on the show before, but then Fran Drescher plays this lady who's auditioning to be the model for a pasta company.
Right.
And she thinks she's got the job in the bag, and Donna Dixon shows up, and the guy's just so taken with Donna Dixon's
Of course.
beauty that he gives it to her instead. And then Angela works it out so that the 2 of them can share the campaign. And then they were going to go on to be like the
Right, that was going to be the.
yeah, it was going to be the 2 of them living together doing this campaign. I don't know.
Really interesting. That's a strange premise for a show. I will say I just watched Spies Like Us again recently, and I would have been taken with Donna Dixon too. 'Cause
Yeah.
she was.
Yeah, oh yeah, she was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Bosom Buddies.
Bosom
Yeah, yeah, which I love that show, even though it's not really PC these days.
No,
but when
it's
when
okay.
I was a
Watch it
kid,
now, you're like,
when
oh.
it was all done in good-heartedness,
Yes.
it's not a good representation now. But
Maybe a little problematic now. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
but I loved Sonny and Tom Hanks's character. But yeah,
Well,
and they're
I did
actually
work with Peter Scolari on
oh
Newhart.
oh
Oh,
okay.
okay. Yeah,
And
I remember him on New
Taught
Heart.
me
Yeah.
how to juggle. This is
Oh.
my Peter Scolari story. is
Nice.
that he said, I could teach you to juggle in 20 minutes. And I said, not a chance. I'm the most uncoordinated. Like, I can't, it'll never
Right.
happen. And in 20 minutes, he taught me how to juggle, and I can still do it. I've never
Really?
forgotten how to juggle. He absolutely pulled it off.
Oh
I
my
love that
gosh,
story.
I would love to know how to juggle, but
know,
I
me too.
feel the same way as there would be no way because I'm so uncoordinated.
And
But
I've tried to pass it on to others. Be like, oh, I can teach you in 20 minutes.
no.
Okay, do it.
I'm not a good teacher, but he. That's my Peter. I've never saw him again, but he left a lasting legacy in my life.
Right.
Oh, that's
That's
cool.
nice. You have all these
That's a
little
great story.
nuggets of interactions with people,
And I think that's what's fun about having been sort of a journeyman actor that went from show to show is I got to
Yeah.
interact with so many different people.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like I just get to tell stories every time someone dies.
Aw.
Like everyone goes, every time someone dies that someone knows I work. Do you have a story to tell?
Right.
Sure.
I know the
On
the
Facebook.
Marky Post one is very sad
That was
recently.
really unbelievably sad. She was
Yeah.
very lovely and sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, did I lose you for a second?
Yeah,
I
just
think
cut
we
out for a
broke
little
the
tiny
whole
bit
thing.
there.
Yeah.
She was lovely, sweet, and very funny.
Yeah, such a shame.
I want
It's
to
like-
revisit Night Court now.
I love that show.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, where's is that
I used to
streaming
watch
somewhere?
it.
gotta
It must be. It has to.
Yeah,
I think
all
it's
right.
on.
Please don't say Paramount Plus.
I don't know it.
Okay, because I should know that if so.
But I know it. I think it is somewhere. But
I don't think it's Paramount Plus.
Okay. I
Maybe
don't
it's
think so.
on Peacock.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
'Cause they're-
anyway,
they were still-
I used to watch that show.
They're discussing
Oh,
rebooting
every
that
week.
one,
And I
which
loved it.
it's going to obviously have a different feel to it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, did Harry Anderson die? This is a terrible.
Yes.
He did.
Yes.
He did. Yes. But you know what? I have that all the time. When somebody dies, I'm like, wait a minute, weren't they already dead?
I know. That's awful.
And there's,
Which is awful.
there's always actors I assume are dead.
Yes,
Alan
exactly.
And still
I know.
working, which is amazing. I love. Like, people
I
in their
know.
90s are still working. I think that's fantastic.
It actually just recently happened to me last week with Bobby Bowden.
Oh
the
yeah,
coach of
you were
FSU.
convinced
Oh,
he
yeah.
was already
I
dead.
Oh, you
he
thought he
was
was already?
I did.
already
Yeah.
dead?
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I thought he was already dead. I
You
mean, he
know,
was 91.
I have noticed that a lot of the older actors on this show have lived into their 90s.
That's a great sign.
Yes, right? A lot of the guest stars on here, if they have passed away, they were in their 90s. Yeah,
I
so
mean,
it's
James
great.
Coco was on early on, right?
Yes, he was
an
an unfortunate one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a cute tribute that they did to him post passing.
Yeah.
Because they weren't expecting, obviously, him to pass away, and then they kind of had to wrap up the
That was a
Nick
pretty good
Milano.
episode, too.
Yeah,
The way they
yeah,
handled
it
it
was
with,
a sweet tribute
Samantha.
to
I'd
him.
like to go back and watch that again.
It's a good one. It's a
I
great
loved.
one.
I mean, never met him, didn't work with him, but I just loved him as an actor.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we've taken so much of your time, and
Have I answered everything? Have we talked about the?
I don't know.
episode?
Did we?
You know.
yeah, no, because I mean, I didn't have it. It's hard to like pick out specific questions from the actual episode, but I feel like we did. We covered everything that was on my list as far as like your experiences there.
Yeah, there was a crash pad for the fall.
Right.
Rosebud was.
You didn't get a brownie.
Chelsea Noble married Kirk Cameron.
Do you?
You did mention you
They
don't
survived
like
the rapture.
Right.
Right.
Do you? Oh wait, and you almost. I don't know if you remember this, but you almost knock over a glass of milk, but
Yeah,
Tony
in the
Danza
kitchen.
catches it in the kitchen.
Is it scripted or is it just a thing that happened?
I
looked
think
like
it was
it
just a
just
thing that happened, but it kind of works perfectly for Mason because, like, as you get up to leave, you almost knock over a glass of milk, and then the chair's kind of all like haphazardly stuck sideways as you walk out the door.
He's such a schlemiel. The great thing about people say, what's the difference between a schlemiel and a schlemazel? A schlemiel is the guy who will get up and spill the glass of milk on you. A schlemazel is a guy who's always having milk spilled on him.
Right.
Like that's the two.
I never knew that.
Mason's more of a schlemiel. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So even if you weren't planning it, it really worked with the characters.
I don't.
So
I
it was
can't
good.
imagine that was planned. I would think I remember having to do that over and over again. I think it must have just been a random thing, and
Yeah.
Tony's quick boxer reflexes.
Cat-like reflexes. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. It
Very
was great
welcome.
to talk to
talking
you.
guys again. And if you have think of
Yeah.
any follow-up questions, you know where to find me.
I
All
will,
right. Yeah, thank
absolutely.
you.
And all right, here's to Mason and Bonnie being married in the reboot.
I'm all for it. I'm gonna pitch
Let's
that
do
to
it.
Shauna. So.
Yes, do it. Okay. All right. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. Bye.
See ya.